It's time to have your say, and welcome back to the Q&A. Ask SCW, answering your questions in the wrestling community will begin straight after this. So welcome back to the Q&A. As always, going to be asking mainly WWE based questions today. If you want to be involved though on the next Q&A, all you got to do is drop a comment here on YouTube, leave the hashtag AskSCW, or you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All should be coming on your screen right about now. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video as well. It's a big week coming up on SCW. Give you the reasons why you need to subscribe to this channel and why you need to hit that notifications bell so you do not miss a video when it drops on this channel. But without further ado, let's get on with our first question this week. And that comes from Supersonic X asking, is Charlotte going to drop the Raw Women's title to Bianca Belair before the SmackDown Women's title match at Crown Jewel? Fantastic question to kick things off this week. Of course, it has been announced on Raw this upcoming week. As it said there, Charlotte Flair will be defending the Raw Women's Championship to Bianca Belair. Now, will we get a change of the guard? Personally, for me, I would love to see it because, well, for example, if Bianca Belair was to win the Raw Women's Championship on Raw, and then we get Sasha to win the SmackDown Women's Championship at Crown Jewel, we don't have to do this passing of the belt scenario. But I do think that is what is going to happen, because even though I'd like to see shocks, twists and turns, I do think if you look at SmackDown this past week, Bianca Belair was the cause of why Becky Lynch lost her first match for, well, a number of years. I believe it was going all the way back to 2018, the last time she lost a match in singles competition. So for that, I expect revenge will be taken on Raw this upcoming week. Of course, Becky will be on Raw going forward also, so it does make sense that she'll be in the house and probably will play a factor into the match. Therefore, I do expect Charlotte Flair to retain that championship, and then she'll go into Crown Jewel, Bianca Belair to try and win the SmackDown Women's Championship. I expect she'll probably lose on that effort there. I reckon Sasha will take the pinfall, and we'll get Becky versus Charlotte at Survivor Series. Skate uphill with our next question now. With the lackluster booking of the Queen's Crown tournament, do you think the winner has a legitimate chance for a successful push? Very good question, this one. Like you're saying, it has been poorly booked. A lot of the matches have been so short. I mean, I think the longest match we've had up to this point has been like 3 minutes long. I believe the whole first round of the Queen's Crown tournament was like 8 minutes and 16 seconds, which, let's be fair, that just about shades over an Undertaker WrestleMania entrance. So yeah, it's been poorly handled to this point. But your question, will the winner get a legitimate push? Well, I expect the winner to be Shayna Baszler, and for that reason, my answer is going to be yes, because Shayna has been on a bit of a push for the last number of weeks on Raw, of course, taking out the likes of Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Dana Brooke now as well, beating her in decisive fashion, and that should have been a quick match in the Queen's Crown tournament. Now we look with the semi-finals this week against Doudrop. Personally, for me, I think that it'll probably still be a fairly quick match once again, but this will be a tougher test for Shayna Baszler. I think she will walk through the final and dominate the final, and I think she'll position herself pretty well into the top tier of the SmackDown Women's roster. Whether she'll get an immediate championship opportunity remains to be seen, but perhaps maybe it could put her in a good position perhaps for the upcoming Royal Rumble, maybe a championship opportunity around there as well. We'll have to wait and see, but one thing's for sure, I expect a big push for Shayna Baszler coming out of winning the Queen's Crown tournament. Should I be wrong and it's Zelina Vega, then yeah, I will actually go back on my answer and say that I think it will work well for the gimmick. I think Zelina Vega is good within her own right, but I would see nothing more than a mid-card gimmick change than anything else. I wouldn't see her getting into the championship picture anytime soon if that was to be the final scenario. WrestleRant 13 with our next question now. Do you think Brock Lesnar will take time off again, as it is rumoured? I think depending on the booking, a Crown Jewel on Thursday will probably answer this question for me, but if I had to predict right now, I do feel Roman Reigns is more than likely to probably retain the championship, which then, looking at that, the Survivor Series would follow this event. It's Raw versus SmackDown, so you wouldn't get an immediate rematch or anything like that with Brock Lesnar needing to be involved. TLC now is rumoured to be cancelled according to Dave Meltzer, so there'll be no pay-per-view in December this year, which is going to take a bit of adjusting to, but at the same time I think probably not a bad thing really, in my my personal opinion. The gimmick pay-per-view for TLC hasn't worked for a number of years now. I feel it's just a very filler, minor pay-per-view. But we have got the Day 1 pay-per-view, which of course will be on the 1st of January, which I think is taking the place of TLC. So after this could be the last time we might see Brock Lesnar until perhaps Royal Rumble season, perhaps even WrestleMania season. So we'll have to wait and see how it will play out. But there have been a number of rumours as well going around that this match with Roman and Lesnar isn't a one and done. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. Should Lesnar actually win the championship, which I think would be a big surprise, then of course he would be taking part in Survivor Series, so he wouldn't be taking time off then. Maybe then he may take time off to the Rumble. But if he loses, then we'll have to wait and see what will happen. But yeah, I don't see that we're going to see Lesnar every week in WWE, so it is more than likely that he will be taking time off after Crown Jewel, especially if he loses to the Tribal Chief. Martin Lorenzo Carrillo of our next question now. Once Crown Jewel is all set and done, how would you build a Survivor Series brand warfare this year? Any meta they should give to it to make it feel important once again, or maybe include NXT? Great question, this one, and personally I would not include NXT, especially now we've had the rebrand for it, the NXT 2.0 stuff going on. I feel that now we've definitely got more developmental system going in compared to what we had a couple of years ago, and I do think it was to NXT's mistake being involved in Survivor Series a couple of years ago, even though that pay-per-view was a lot of darn fun. NXT didn't get the reward actually winning that pay-per-view, and I think they suffered a lot more in the long run in the Wednesday Night Wars, not being given the same attention after that event. It was almost as if NXT was ignored after that, and superstars that were called up to Raw and SmackDown didn't really succeed, so it didn't really connect well having them involved and winning last time round. If they were involved in this time and they were to get completely destroyed as well, that wouldn't do a lot for the brand either going forward. So for me, I would keep that separate. But what would I do to book it? Personally, what I think they should have already been doing is we've had the draft. I think that both sides should have been looking and saying, what can we do to make sure our brand is safe? And I mainly look at the Women's Championship pictures, because we've said earlier in the video, if Bianca was to win the Raw Women's Championship, especially if you have that sort of USA side of thing of we need to keep our championship, Raw needs to have our championship on our brand, and SmackDown is to be the same. Sasha, you are the one representing us. We need to find a way to get the belt off of Becky Lynch. You find a way when it comes to Survivor Series, people feel mistreated, mishandled, and then when they get to the show, they turn around and say, I need to represent the other side. There is also a case scenario where certain superstars can say that they were pleased they were drafted to the other show, or are upset with the other show that they weren't drafted there, which made them to move. For someone like maybe like a Sheamus, for example, was arguably doing a lot of his best work on Raw. Not saying he's not happy to be on SmackDown, but why didn't Raw draft me? And that way he wants to represent SmackDown. So you've got those sort of concepts that can work and kind of make it for brand warfare. But of course, I mean, with WWE, the thing they're going to do is which side, I suppose, got the better draft picks? Which side has won here? Is it Raw? Is it SmackDown? It does seem too soon in me for people representing shows when they were on the other show for almost the whole year, but at the same time, I think it can play out well if they can get those niggling little storylines in there. And of course, with Raw this week and Charlotte defending that championship, it's a good opportunity to say, we're going to perhaps try and make sure she loses that championship. Maybe Charlotte screwily gets that finish where Becky Lynch helps. Maybe they say that's not good enough, it's not a clean finish, restart the match. Maybe we have something where it's a count out or DQ, restart the match, and it's that point where Bianca eventually wins the championship, where Charlotte can say, hey, I was screwed out of that championship. So for me, those are some of the ideas that I would think would work quite well if you're going to try and build Survivor Series like that with Raw versus SmackDown. But we'll have to wait and see what WWE is going to do, and I think a lot of that will be determined of what comes out of the next week, particularly with Raw and Crown Jewel on Monday and Thursday respectively. Johnny Oregano with our next question for us now. What's your favourite company, past and present? It's no secret I've always been a WWE guy. I mean, I've been following that company for nearly 30 years now. WrestleMania 8 was my first ever show that I watched, so for me, I've been supporting them the whole way through. But of course, through the 90s, I always loved ECW, WCW, and I enjoy every company. And to be fair, if I only could choose one, I think with the history, the legacy, everything like that, I probably would always stick with WWE. And I get most excited with things like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, those sort of things. So I am a WWE guy. But if you look at perhaps a favourite show or what's going on at the moment, AEW are a hot streak. They're doing a lot of things that are a lot of fun to watch right now. So right now, I'm very much invested in what AEW is doing. But yeah, past and present, WWE, It's always been my favourite company. Last question this week coming from Austin Whitley. With it being Halloween season, which horror movie villain would you transport into the wrestling world? Such a fun and creative question. I really like this one. I come up with a few different ideas of what you could do. Of course, we've already technically seen one with the Scream character. Of course, we saw I think it was Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell dressed up as the Scream character last year for Halloween Havoc. Of course, that under the mask, who is under there kind of thing could really work with WWE if they were trying to go with that method with another horror villain today. Another one I think could be a lot of fun could be Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Of course, he usually wants to play a game. A lot of mind control, can influence people to do things to his way of thinking. That could be interesting seeing how that would play out in the world of wrestling. You know, we've kind of those sort of characters before. So would Jigsaw perhaps be a manager directing other sort of Halloween villains that could be there, superstars themselves, to do his dirty work, or would he simply get people to do things that would perhaps save them for themselves in the wrestling world? So that could be something that could be quite fun and interesting to look out for. But my actual final answer that I decided on is Michael Myers from the Halloween series. He seems to be just an unstoppable brute force, and I think we've had many of a character like that in WWE, and I'm pretty sure if we're in the SmackDown era of 2008 and 2009, you can imagine Teddy Long would be saying we've got a rivalry one-on-one with the Undertaker players. But that's all for me this week, and thank you for watching Ask SCW as always. Let me know your thoughts on any of the questions discussed here in the comments below. I look forward to interacting with you. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe as well, and also make sure to hit the bell for notifications now each and every time a video is released. And to let you know, it's going to be a busy week ahead here on SCW. Tomorrow, WWE Crown Jewel predictions will be dropping on the channel. On Tuesday, Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory as well. That will be coming up next weekend. Those predictions will be dropping on the channel. On Wednesday, there'll be another live Q&A live stream answering all your questions in the wrestling community. And NXT 2.0 Halloween Havoc will be having those predictions dropping on Thursday. So lots of videos, lots of exciting content will be on the way this week on the channel. Before I leave you, just to remind you as well to go and check out the latest SCW Rewind Retro review that you selected in the voting in the community section. That was right, it was WCW Halloween Havoc 1997. That is available now on full on the channel. Aaron, Wrestling by Waldridge, joined me for that review. It was a lot of fun. I recommend you go and check that out now. And while you're at it, check out one of these videos as well, also popping up on your side right now. Take care, have a great day, and thank you for watching Ask SCW. I'll see you next time. All the best.